Welcome to week 1 of the KymPossible Winter Bar program. We're going to get started. Fold forward and walk yourself out into a plank. And then we're going to shoot one foot really far forward and twist towards that leg. Repeat on the other side. And we're going to do this 4 times. Take your time and try to move on your breath. Big inhale up, stretch forward, walk out into that plank. Each time trying to sit into those hips just a little bit more. This is the warm-up, so be nice and gentle and also just moving through those joints nice and easy. We have 30 weeks together, guys, so don't worry if you're a little slower. Don't worry if you want to move faster. That is all up to you. This is your workout, your time. Use it however you need to. This is our last one of this first round. Really stretch. And other side, stretch. And then push yourself back into a downward facing dog and walk out those heels. Beautiful. Move those toes, move those ankles, and then we're going to come down onto our hands and knees. Shoulders right over those hands, knees right under those hips. And we're going to move through some cat-cow. Inhale into that cow spine. Exhale into that cat spine. Trying to articulate every inch of that spine. Moving on that breath. You will come back to this breath, especially as things get a little bit more challenging. Walk those hands in, roll up, and then we're going to do that whole sequence one more time. Here we go. Big inhale up and stretch forward. Walk those hands out. Shoot that one foot really far forward and twist. And other side. And then push yourself back and walk those hands back. If walkouts are not really in your wheelhouse, don't worry. You can go in and out of a downward facing dog and skip the walkout. You can drop your knees and kind of push back into a child's pose. There's so many variations. Don't feel like you have to do whatever I'm doing. That's my number 1 rule. If you're ever in a group fitness class, if the instructor is, very much like, you have to do what I say, just leave the class because it's not worth it. You are the president of your domain, people. I can't feel what's going on in your bodies, just like you can't feel what's going on in my body. Only I can feel what's happening inside my body, and therefore I am the one who knows best. So if something doesn't feel right to you, it's not right. And either try a little adjustment, push back, push forward, rock on the heel, lots of different little adjustments you can make to try and make a move feel better. Try one of those first, and then if it still is not working, just do something else. It's totally okay. I care about you, not what you do. The whole point of this is just to move our bodies, to try and move for the whole 40 minutes, the entire workout, but take breaks when you need to, get water when you need to, all that fun stuff. Push those hips back and walk yourself back up, and we'll move on to plies. You're going to stand in a nice wide stance. Those toes point about 30 degrees out or so, wherever is comfortable for your knees to push out. Your knees want to track right over the middle toes. So if your knees are caving in, maybe shimmy those toes in a little bit so that those knees can track right over those feet. Sometimes it's just a matter of being aware that your knees should go over your toes. So just using those glutes a little bit more might be the trick. So here we picked it up a little bit, sitting into that full range of motion as much as you can. As it gets harder, you can totally shorten it. Here we're going to hold for just a little bit, and then half reps, half up, half down, half up, half down, half up, half down. Using that pelvic floor, those glutes, even the inner thighs here. Everything is on. And then little pulses. Yes, breathe with me here, and then add those heels. One heel at a time. Keep all 5 toes of each foot down. Not rolling in and out of the foot. You're going right over those middle toes. Don't worry if your foot doesn't get up very high. And stretch. Ooh, that was round 1. We're going to go right into round 2. So one way we're going to get at this overload principle of changing the body, getting stronger, whatever your goal is, you need to overload it. So one way we're going to do that, since we don't have access to a lot of heavy weights, is we're going to limit our rest period, meaning we're going to have a longer time under tension. Usually in the gym, if you were doing this with heavy weights, you might take a rest in between your sets. Here, not so much. I'll give you a second to breathe, and then we're gonna jump right back into it. We're also gonna do all of our leg movements at first, and then we'll move up to the core and the upper body. This will also really condition those legs and really get at that overload principle that we're looking for. Heels, lovely heels, lovely heels. And up. Ooh, yeah, I'm feeling it. One more round, guys. Here we go. Nice and slow to start. I always like to build, right? So we're going to go slow, get as deep in those plie squats as you can, and then we'll pick it up. And here you can shorten the range of motion, or you can try to hit that depth wherever you're feeling you're ready for is totally fine. But this way, we get that full range of motion, and then here we have an isometric hold, and then we're gonna half rep. We're gonna do half of the rep, getting in that nice little burn, that muscle burn. Feels awful. I might be an optimist, but in this case, I'm a realist. I might be smiling, but oh, yep, it feels awful, guys. 2 and 1. Oof, yeah, I needed my hands there. Ooh, shake it out, shake it out. Take your time. Like I said, if you need more break, feel free to pause the video and hit it when you're ready. But we're gonna move right along to squats. So grab those dumbbells. Start with a slightly less wide stance. And of course, I have to have my water bottle up. Start with a slightly less wide stance, toes pointing more forward, though you can have a little turnout, that's totally fine. Then we're going to sit and reach. Sit and reach. Again, those knees are going to travel right over the middle of the toes. So they're not caving in. Again, check your form. Maybe take a video of yourself if you don't have a mirror. Then we're going to move into these lateral squats with our curls. So there's a little bit of a swing here, but it's not really a kettlebell swing or a ski swing. It's kind of a hybrid movement because our weights are nice and lighter. Nice and lighter? They're nice and light. They don't feel so light, but they're lighter than we would use a kettlebell swing. Yes. Woo, that was round 1, guys. Take a breath, and here we go, round 2. Starting with these thrusters. Beautiful. Sit and lift. Sit and lift. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. You're almost there. Not so much, but we're close. Ski swing. Sit and lift. Use that squat to help thrust those weights up. Excellent. Enjoy the breeze. Here we go. Sit into that squat and curl those weights. Yes. Keep that back upright. That core is nice and lifted. And lift. Whew. Take a breath. We've got one more round. Here we go. And we sit and lift. I like to inhale down, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Anytime you need your core more, so basically on a lifting phase, right? That's where you want to add your exhale. So in something like a squat, we usually need our core more as we're coming up out of the bottom of our squat rather than going down. It's not gonna matter too much, but I like to get nitpicky with things. Yes. Keep those knees open, over those toes. Oh yeah, I know it's hard. Yes, and good. Oof. All right, guys, we have one more exercise for the lower body. We've got some reverse lunges, and we're gonna play with it a little bit. So again, identify one leg. Pick whichever leg you wanna start on, it's totally fine. But we're gonna stay on this side for all 3 rounds. So we're gonna go nice and slow. We're gonna step back, and then we're going to cross into our curtsy position and then back open and then up. So we go back, cross, open, up. Now, if you're a little wobbly, because we've been working those legs already, feel free to just tap your foot by your other foot, by your standing side leg. You don't have to come up to this balance. This balance is kind of an added extra bonus, if you will, but feel free to just put your foot down by your standing foot. We've got 8 of these total. Pretty much everything I do is in 8s. So here we're gonna do 8 full reps, and then we're gonna hold here for a short while, and then we're gonna do 8 half reps. 8, yes. So we're just moving in and up, keeping that tension in the leg. Oh gosh, it's already burning. And then we're gonna go across 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way up. And that was round 1. Yes, gotta shake it out sometimes. Round 2, here we go. Same thing, starting with the back, cross, open, and up. Now, something that I like to address with something like reverse lunges or split squats is you can kind of adjust your positioning to work either the quad more or the back of the thigh and the butt more. Now, everything is working in this, guys. Literally everything. But if you lean forward, see how I'm kind of leaning forward and sitting back? That's gonna target, it's gonna create a greater crease in my hip, which is going to target my glutes and hamstring a little bit more than my quad. My quads are a little dominant. So I don't really need to overwork my quad. So that's why I choose the more leaning forward, sitting back motion. But if you were somebody who wanted to work on your quads, say you needed to strengthen your knees for running, or any other exercise or sport that you like to do that requires a nice strong quad and a nice stable knee, then you could try to be more upright in your upper body as opposed to leaning forward. So just something to think about. Or if you get partway and you're like, oh my gosh, my quad is burning, try to lean forward and sit back and use those glutes a little bit more. So again, this is your workout. It's for you. You do what you need to do, people. Whew. And I am praying that this is done soon. One more. Yes. And then we have those half reps. We half. Oh goodness, this, whoop. Don't worry, balance is a thing, try to ignore it. Honestly, it's more about how tired and fatigued your legs are, and it has nothing to do with age. If you practice balance will happen. Yes, pat it out, shake it out, do the stanky leg, and then we're gonna do it on the other side. Oh yeah, take your time. Like I said, if you need to pause this and take a little bit more rest before hitting that second side, go for it. Otherwise, here we go. And lift. Oh yes. Back, cross, open, lift. Back, cross, open, lift. Back, cross, open, and lift. Are you holding your breath? Because if you are, you might want to breathe. Oxygen helps, I swear. Oxygen helps. Maybe not much, but it does help a little bit. Back, cross, open, and up. Then we're going to hold for just that little bit and then half reps. Time under tension. Ooh, second set always feels good. And by good, I mean awful. I might be a constant optimist, but that doesn't mean this still doesn't suck. And I'm right there with you. Yes, I am right there with you. 2 more times. Here we go. Back, cross, open, and up. Back, cross, open, and up. You'll notice I'm wearing my Beats headphones. I am somebody who I need some kind of stimulation to work out. Usually I do music. Sometimes on a run I'll listen to a BBC podcast or some kind of podcast, though that's kind of rare. It depends on what's feeding me that day, but usually it's music. I'm somebody I need that stimulation to kind of get me through the mental sticking point of working out. Some days you're motivated, you don't need anything, and you're just like, yes, let's do this, I am ready for it. And other days you just need a little boost. Music, art, in lots of different capacities can be just enough boost for you to kind of keep yourself going or just get you started, right? Honestly, it's the might as well principle, right? Well, might as well do 1 squat. And then once you do 1 squat, you're probably going to do more than 1 squat. But, at least you did that one. Balance is a thing. Try to forget it. Yep, there it is. Yes. Even for us professionals, balance is still a thing. We still lose our balance here and there. It just happens. You can't train to be a perfect mover. Accidents will happen. You'll hit a weird side of the sidewalk and you'll roll your ankle. It's just part of life. But training can help you recover faster. It can help you, I don't want to say catch yourself from falling, but in a sense, catch yourself from falling, right? If you're more apt at playing with your limits, then you can adjust when those limits get thrown out. Alrighty. So we are going to move right along now that those legs are done. Very much so done. Yes, they are all the way done. So we are going to move right along to some abs. I love this little roll-up ab series here. It's a lot of fun-ish, depending on your definition of fun. We're going to start in a nice little butterfly. You can give yourself a little stretch before we start. And then we're going to roll through the spine in that butterfly position and then come right back up. Rolling through the spine and then rolling right back up. Now, I'm a little tired here, not going to lie. So you might see me use a little bit of momentum to get back up. That is totally fine. It's wherever you're at in this day. Now, maybe you're feeling super strong in your core and you're like, I'm not going to use any momentum. Awesome. Definitely try for that. But if you need a little momentum, if you need to hold your legs, go for it. We're going to get fancy here. We're going to lift one leg and continue those roll-ups. Yes, you're trying to keep that leg turned out so that knee is pointing. When I roll up, that knee is kind of pointing outside of my arm. And then the leg is elevated off of the floor. Keep it up the whole time. This is working our hip flexors, our psoas muscle, lovely little psoas muscle, as well as our core. And then we're going to take your hands behind your head. Everything extends and comes in. That leg is lifting. Keep it in rotation, right? It hasn't come into parallel yet. We're keeping that externally rotated, meaning that knee is going to point slightly outside. And then we switch those legs. Switch, 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 and switch. Roll all the way up. And then switch sides. We're going to do that from the top, that's what top means, and roll all the way down and all the way up. Knees are open. Don't worry if they kind of come in a little bit as you roll up. That's totally normal. You're just trying to keep them as open as you can. Excellent. Good. And then we elevate that leg. Rolling down and rolling up. Now roll-ups are fun. I like to use the exhale when I'm either rolling down or rolling up. So I'll take a breath at the bottom and then again at the top. If I'm going fast enough, sometimes that doesn't always happen, but that's usually what I try for. It is super important to put your breath and your movement together as much as you can. It can get kind of frustrating at first, especially if you're not used to thinking about, oh, wait, I can inhale now, or if you're somebody who tends to hold your breath, right? So exercise is a stressor. It's going to induce that sort of, fight, flight, freeze response, that panic response. That's kind of what it is. For me, that's one of my favorite things about working out is because it teaches my body how to handle that. And if my body can learn it, my brain can learn it. So here we're going to go into the same thing, but with straight parallel legs. So we turn those legs out and we roll them straight, stretch them straight. So your body might, go through lots of different sequences as you start to work out and as you start to work out consistently. Motivation is something that comes and goes, right? Some people are motivated by results, and that's cool, but you're not going to see results right away. Nobody got super strong from one workout. Arguably, we get a little sore from one workout. But your body is going to go through lots of phases where it's going to crave working out, it's going to crave movement, and sometimes it's going to fight against it. You've got to listen to your body, yes, but then also you've got to learn to discern when your body is telling you to pull back or rest or recover, and when it's telling you, okay, we need to dig deep and we need to push through this because it's not risky, it's just a sticking point, and you are so much stronger than that. At the end of this 30 weeks, you will be stronger. However consistently you can keep this up will determine how much stronger. But even after one workout, you will be stronger. That's the amazing thing about the body. It adapts to what you give it. And we are going for consistency, long-term consistency. That's the idea. These workouts are about 40 minutes. So if you have the time to do the whole thing, great. If you're somebody whose life is just structured differently, feel free to break it up. Do the legs in the morning and the core and upper body at night. Break it up even into smaller sections. Totally fine. However you need to work it so that it fits within your day. Training has to fit your life, and sometimes life takes over. All right, guys, you thought we were done with abs, but we're not. So we're gonna go into some planks and some push-ups, one of my favorite parts of class. So when you're doing a plank, also because I don't usually carry a timer with me, I like to go off of your breath. So what you want to think about when you're doing a plank is inhaling outward into your lungs and then exhaling, pulling that belly button in forcefully. And I kind of hate that cue, so I usually call it tightening your seatbelt. When you're in a car and you clip your seatbelt in and you pull the cross strap, the strap that goes right across your lower tummy gets tight and pulls in. That kind of tension in that lower core, quote unquote, is what I'm feeling when I exhale. So I'm inhaling out into the side of my ribs, and then I'm exhaling, everything comes pulling in. Everything, not just that lower core, that seatbelt, whatever you want to call it, belly button area, but also the pelvic floor, my obliques, all of that. My rib cage is coming down, all of that is coming in on every exhale. Lovely. So then you're gonna set your hands up right underneath those shoulders, step your feet back, and inhale down, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Push-ups, I love push-ups. We're gonna go for 8. If you need to, drop your knees and hips and keep going. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Good. Take a hot second in child's pose. Whew. Yes, almost there, guys. We're almost there. And then we've got 2 more rounds. So we're going to go right back into that plank. You can go on your forearms or your hands for your plank. It really doesn't matter. The difference is marginal. So it's more about whatever you can do with better form at this point. If you have specific goals, you know, that might require making a choice between going on your elbows or your hands. But as for right now, or general strength goals, you can choose whichever one feels better. Big inhale into the side of those ribs. Exhale, tighten that seatbelt. We're doing about 4 breaths in each position. And then we go right back in, shake those arms out a little bit, and then jump into those push-ups. Find that nice strong plank. Inhale down, exhale, lift. Inhale down, exhale, lift. A push-up is a moving plank, right? That's why I like to pair them. So it is really about keeping that plank form, even if you've dropped your knees and hips. Oh, I know, it's getting hard. But we've got 1 more round. 1 more. I say to myself as much as I say to you. That's the cool thing. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, is to do it with you, to be, struggling alongside of you. That builds camaraderie. I've been teaching these kinds of classes for a long time now, but I still make them challenging, apparently. And that's kind of the fun part, right? Even if you're a beginner, you can totally modify everything to do the whole workout. If you're more advanced, you can also modify the workout to fit your needs. Maybe you're right there along with me. And we're just in it to win it, folks. We're in it to win it. Alrighty, we have 1 more round of push-ups. Take a breath, get some, energy, and let's do this. Shoulders right over those hands. Step those feet back. Here we go. We got 8 and 7 and 6. One more. 5 on my knees. Here we go. 4 and 3 and 2 and 2 and 2 and 1. Good rest. I was always great at math. But, and a few extra for good luck never hurt nobody, right? I always say I'm a dancer. I count to 8 and then I start back over. But then, of course, I do that just to be mean. You can always do one more. That's my philosophy. You can do one more of anything. Alrighty, so last little thing here, we're going to grab those weights. If you need some more cushion for your knee, this little towel is not going to do much cushion for me, but just to kind of demonstrate, you can fold up your mat or whatever you're using, a blanket or a towel or something like that, and you can put it right under those knees. So you got your dumbbells in your hands, and then we're going to sit and curl. So this is like a half squat. We're really squeezing those glutes at the top. I'm somebody who I think the muscles will contract what they need to contract. So if you're actively squeezing a muscle, that's fine. Just know that you don't necessarily need that for movement, right? There's a difference between recruiting muscles and using the muscles needed to perform a movement. So here, right, I'm curling. I don't need to recruit any more muscles than what is already happening in order to lift those dumbbells up, because that's enough stimulation for my arms. But in this position, I am actively squeezing my glutes. Open, squeeze, lift. Good. Just to get like a little extra isometric contraction, because apparently we didn't work the glutes enough today. So this is a little extra. You don't need to squeeze your glutes in this position is my point. But you can if you want to. Good. Lifting those weights up overhead. You can always skip the overheads if you're somebody who doesn't have access to that range of motion, right? It's always best to gain access first, and then you can add in overhead positions. So you could just do the half squats in that case if you don't have access to overhead press. So here we're squeezing those shoulder blades together, using those triceps. A little stiff arm. The arm isn't like super straight. You can't quite tell with my sweatshirt on. It's chilly out today, guys. It was like 55 today, which was perfect weather for this, because by the end, I definitely liked the breeze that was happening. But it was a bit chilly at first. Here we have one of my favorite moves, a bird dog row. And then we're gonna hold the last one and pulse that leg, whoop. And what did I tell you about that balance? Every time, you maybe fall out of a move or whatever, it should give you some information, right? In this position, I was leaning too far forward, and so I lost my balance forward, right? So I didn't have quite enough pull behind me to balance out the pull I had with the dumbbell. And that's really what balance is. It is balancing out the line of pull, right? Whew, all right, 2 more times, guys, 2 more times. If you hadn't caught the theme here, we pretty much do most things in forms of 8, or in beats of 8. and we'll do them 2 to 3 times a round, right? So 2 to 3 sets of 8. Now, of course, it's not just 8, it's 8 full reps, 8 half reps, 8 second pause, and then 8 pulses, but you get the gist. It's 8 repetitions done 2 to 3 rounds. Curls for the girls. Love it. Good. Yes. I know. It's getting hard, but we're almost there. This time I actually mean it. We're almost there. Lovely. Also, if these half squats just don't really feel good, if you have certain knee issues, you can do this whole sequence standing. That is totally fine. You gotta do what works for you. And then one down at a time. This part gets tricky. Your one arm has to stabilize that weight as the other one moves. It's a lot harder than it looks. Ooh, I know. So then we got our tricep kickbacks. Contrary to the name, it's a lift, not a kick or a swing. So I always like to make sure I kind of pause at the bottom before I go back so that I use as little momentum as possible and I get most of the work coming from my upper back and triceps. Alrighty, here we have our bird dog row, shooting one leg behind and pulling in that opposite arm. You can do this with your other hand flat on the ground, although if you're choosing that route, I would place your hand on top of a yoga block. If you prefer it flat as opposed to being on the dumbbell, sometimes the dumbbell can press into your hand and it just feels uncomfortable. So, grab a yoga block or a really thick book and place your hand on that. That way you're elevated enough that you can get more of a full row from the moving side, but you're not, in an uncomfortable position on your standing hand. Oh, wow. One more time. Yes, swing those arms out. Do what you gotta do. Roll up those sleeves. Put your hair in a bun. Drink that coffee and get her done. Here we go. So, last round, we sit and curl. Sit and curl. Excellent. I can totally tell my arms are getting tired here, but that's okay. Oh, yes. Try to keep your form. Again, if you need a little swing, that's fine. Just try to ascertain if you need the swing or if you're just tired and using the swing, right? So as much as you can, we're trying to not use momentum. We're trying to use our own strength. And sometimes our bodies, not even sometimes, most of the time, your body will try to go the path of least resistance, right? And we're trying to not go that path. So as much as you can, try to trust your own strength and stay in it. Train your body to stay in it. You're doing great, my friends. You're doing great. We're almost there. And on this, if you need to, sort of use the half squat to kind of push those weights up overhead, you can do that, right? It's more of a thruster that way than a squat to overhead press, right? And you can totally use that momentum if you need it. All right, so we've got our last set of tricep kickbacks. Hinge forward slightly, but keeping that chest lifted. Notice my spine is not rounded here. I'm just slightly sitting back into those hips. Yes. And then last set, last set of bird dog rows. Figure out which way you want to start. It doesn't matter because you'll do both sides, but some of us like to start on the same side each time. Now, if you're working out in the gym, my general rule of thumb for that is if it's a matter of strength, right? You have a slightly weaker side and a slightly stronger side, but both are generally good. Do the slightly weaker side first. That way you make sure that you do all the reps on that side as you can, and then you can do your stronger side going to wherever you got to on your first side. If it's a matter of like rehab, you're trying to figure out like how something should feel and one side does it and the other side doesn't, I would actually do your stronger side first and kind of memorize how that feels. And then do it on your other side and try to replicate the feeling that you got on that stronger side. All right, so we are stretching out now. Yes. So what you're gonna do here is we're going to start with some lovely little cat-cow. So again, inhale, extend that spine, and exhale, round. Try to go on your own breath. Your heart rate might be up still, so this is a great way to bring that heart rate down. Calm that breath. Calm those muscles a little bit. Just a wee little bit. Excellent. Then you can shoot one foot forward. Check in with your pelvis, right? Are you tilted back, or can you kind of tuck forward and then sit into that runner's lunge? From there, whatever leg is back, that same arm is going to reach for the sky, and then you're going to lift up and over, stretching that psoas muscle. And that psoas muscle runs right on the inside of that hip bone, kind of towards the ribs. Coming on down, you can turn that front leg out and sit into that hip, give it a nice crease. Lovely. Keep that front foot where it is, shift those hips back. I like to keep a little bend in the knee and try to tilt my butt up towards the sky. Here we want to feel the stretch in the belly of that hamstring. And then your foot and head are going to go together. So you're going to point and drop your head, and you're going to flex your foot and look forward. Kind of like a cat-cow, but instead of your head and tail, you're thinking about your head and foot. Your sciatic nerve and, well, basically everything is connected from the top of your head to the bottom of your foot. So moving them in tandem is a great way to stretch pretty much the entire backside of the body. Moving over into that second side, check in with those hips before you sit into that stretch. One side might be a little tighter than the other. Don't worry about that too much. Just go with what feels good. Stretching should never be ballistic. It should be gentle and easing into it. Now, of course, this is more of a static stretch-ish. We can always get into more like functional range conditioning theories for actually increasing that range of motion, but that is another time for another day, my friends. Good. Keep that front foot where it is. Shift those hips back again. Keep a little bend in that knee and try to tilt that butt up towards the sky, getting a stretch in the belly of that hamstring. Hamstring being the back of your thigh. Your foot and head go together. Point and drop your head. Flex and look forward. Point and drop your head. Flex and look forward. Lovely. Oh, that breeze, the breeze. All right. And one little child's pose. Take a breath. And then when you're ready, tuck those toes under. Walk those feet to those hands, hand to those feet. Lean over, and on your next big exhale, bend those knees, start to roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. When you get halfway, push those knees over the center of your feet, push your hips over your knees, ribs over hips, shoulders over ribs, head over everything. And thank you so much for joining me.